A very good morning to all my dear students. Today we are just going to start our new lesson from our literature portion, that is the Diary of the Young Girl, or you can say the Diary of the Anne Frank. Right here, Anne Frank is herself the author of this very, you can say, diary, and here the diary which is just given or hand over to our Anne Frank, which is the main character of this lesson, on her 13th birthday. So before talking about the lesson, let's talk about much about this young girl, that is Anne Frank, right? So if I'll talk about the book, then the author is Anne Frank, and here the original title is the head written by Het Acadesius, and after that translator was B.M. Moyat Doubleday. After that cover artist is Helmut Selden. After that the country, if I'll say, belong to this is Netherlands, and language is Dutch. Subject is World War II. It means the theme is all about the World War II. The published date is 1947 and published in English in 1952. So Anne Frank diary is so much important in the reference to know about the historical facts about the World War II. So my children, in this very book we will come to know about one thing, that how Anne Frank written down her diary, and he will written down each and every you can say major points which she suffered during the Nazis army attack over the Netherlands. Now let us talk about this. If I'll talk about the author's description, then this is Anne Frank. So Anne Frank got born in 1929 and she got died in 1945. It means exactly, if I will say that 26 is she was just got alive. But in this age, she has just written down many of the most important things. For example, if I'll talk about this Anne Frank, that Anne Frank was a Jewish teenager. It means at the time of World War II, and especially in the Netherlands, it was a curse to be a Jewish, because all the Jewish will be you can say murdered or the encountered by the Hitler, and Hitler was all against these Jewish customs. So he was a Jewish teenager who went into hiding during the Holocaust. Holocaust was just like that when German was attacked over the Netherlands. Then that particular period is known as the Holocaust. Journaling her experiences in the renowned work, The Diary of Anne Frank. In her diary, she has just mentioned that she hid herself during the Holocaust, and at that particular time, she has just written down all the experience in the renowned book, which is known as The Diary of Anne Frank. And this very girl is also the Anne Frank. So, when Anne Frank is given a diary for her 13th birthday, she immediately fills it with the details of her life, description of her friends, boys who likes her, and her classes at school. So, after that, Annie finds comfort writing in her diary because she feels that she has difficulty opening up to her friends and therefore has not true confidence, because she was Jewish and her other friend was some of the friends were Jewish, but some of the friends were not Jewish, and Jewish were the community which was just murdered by you can say our Hitler. So here the reference we will find are the Nazis army. Nazis armies belong to Hitler in Germany, and after that Annie also record her perception of herself. After that, even the third point, which says that she does not think she is pretty, but she is confident that her personality and other good traits make up for it. Throughout her writing, Anne comes across a playful and comical but with a serious side. It means our Anne is kind of playful nature girl, you can say, which conclude under the comical as well as the serious side. So next is point says that Annie has expressed the desire in the rewritten introduction of her diary for one person that she would call her trusted friend, that is a person to whom she would confide her deepest thoughts and feelings. Now, she observed that she had many friends and equally many admirers, but her own definition not true. So, dear friends with whom she could share her innermost thought. She originally thought her his girlfriend Jack Van, you can say Marseille, would be this person, but that was only partially successful. If I'll talk about the character's description, then character of the Anne Frank will be lie here, who is the author of a diary. Anne Frank was born in 12 June 1929 in Frankfurt, Germany, right? And was 4 years old when her father moved to Holland to find a better place for the family to live. And she's very intelligent, perspective, and she wants to become a writer. Anne grows from an innocent, tempestuous, you can say precocious, and the somewhat pretty teenage girl to an empathetic and sensitive thinking at the age of 15. And is died of typhus in the concentration camp at Bergen Belsen in late February or early March of 1945. And here the concentration camp refers to those concentration camp which was just attached by our, not our, that is Hitler. And in this camp, there were three stages. On the first stage is particularly the first stage is not hard, but the other one is second stage is harder. The third one is till death. So these were just the gas chambers in which the live men were just burned out because of the gas, right? So it was a kind of dictatorship. After if I'll talk about in the character of his diary, we'll find out the Margaret Frank. Margaret Frank is the Anne's older sister, and Margot was born in Frankfurt in 1926. So she's received little attention in Anne's diary, and Annie doesn't provide a real sense of Margot's character. So after that, Annie saying that Margot is pretty smart, emotional, and everyone's favorite. However, Anne and Margot do not form a close bond, and Margot mainly appear in the diary when she is the cause of jealousy or anger, right? So she dies of typhus in the concentration camp few days before the Anne does. Another one is Otto Frank. Otto Frank is Anne's father. Otto is practical and a kind person, and Anne feels a particular kinship to him. He was born on May 12, 1889 in a wealthy Frankfurt family, but the family's international banking business collapsed during the German economic depression that followed the World War I. So, after the Nazis came to power in Germany, Otto moved to Amsterdam in 1933 to protect his family from the persecution. That means he just want to, you can say, protect his family from the curse of this very man whose name is Hitler, because he will die all the Jewish people, and the family of Frank was Jewish. So there he made a living selling chemical products and provision until the family was forced into hiding in 1942. So at the particular time, the profession of Otto Frank was to selling the chemical products, and he was forced in hiding in another, you can say, area of this very country in 1942. Now here's the reference of the mother, whose name was Edith Frank. Edith Frank was Anne's mother. So she was originally from Aachen, that is lies in Germany, and she married Otto in 1925. Annie feels a little closeness or sympathy with her mother, and the two has a very tumultuous relationship. It means a kind of low closeness when there is in a relationship. So Annie Frank was so related to her father, not the mother. Annie thinks that her mother is too sentimental and critical. Edith dies of hunger and exhaustion in the concentration camp at Auschwitz in January 1945. Another one is that Mr. Van Deen. Mr. Van Deen is the father of the family that hides in the annex along with the Franks, and who had worked with the Otto Frank as an herbal specialist in Amsterdam. It means Mr. Van Dam was also one of the fatherly figure of the family who just hide himself in the annex along with the Franks, यानी Franks family के साथ वो मिस्टर सॉरी छुप गया बिकॉज वो ऑटो फ्रैंक के साथ एक हार्बर स्पेशलिस्ट का काम करते थे. आफ्टर दैट मिस्टर वॉन डेल्स एक्चुअल नेम इज़ हर्मन वैन पेल्स and Anne's call him Mr. Van Daan in the diary. So according to Anne, he is intelligent, opinionated, pragmatic and somewhat egotistic. And after that, Mr. Vaughan is temperamental, speaks his mind openly, and is not afraid to cause friction, and especially with his wife, with whom he fights frequently and openly. Here, Mrs. Van Dan's wife, Mr. Van Dan's wife, her actual name is Auguste Van Pels, but Anne calls her Petronella Van Dan in her diary. So Anne initially described Mr. Van Dan as a friendly, teasing woman, but later calls her an instigator. She is a fatalist and can be passive, egoistically flirtatious, and stingy, as well as disagreeable. Mrs. Van Dan frequently complains about the family situation, criticism that Anne does not admire or respect. Mrs. Van Dan does not survive the war, but the exact date of her death is unknown. So here is the character. If I'll say that Peter Van Dan, the teenage son of the Van Dans, whose real name is Peter Van Pels, Anne first sees Peter as obnoxious, lazy, hypersensitive, but later they become close friends. And Peter is quite timid, honest and sweet to Anne, but he does not share her strong conviction. After that, Albert Dussel. Albert Dussel was the scientist and acquaintance of Frank. So this is all about you should be like you should not be kind of things because he was this was not the real name of Albert Dussel, because the real name of this particular person is Fritz Pfeffer. But Anne calls him Mr. Dussel in the diary. So this is all about the characters, and the last I hope the last on the list. We have four more characters. Mr. Kugler, a man who helps hide the Franks in the annex. Okay, so this is a particular person who use to help all the Jews to hide themselves, not to be killed by the dictator for Hitler. So after that, there is a character that is man Clayman. So here is the Clayman, another man who helped the Frank hides Jonas Clayman is arrested. So here he's another man who just helped the Frank family, but he was arrested in the 1944 but released because of the poor health. So he was live in the Amsterdam until his death in 1959. After that, there is Babs Voskuzel. That means a worker in Otto Frank's office. That is Elizabeth Babs Voskuzel helped the family by serving as a liaison to the outside world. She remains in Amsterdam until her death in 1983. The last is that Mr. Voskuzel, Bab's father. It means the father of this very lady. Babs Guess is a secretary of Osso's office who helps the Franks hide. It means all these person in the last we are reading out is the helping hands for the Franks family to hide the practical family. And he is the Genjais, Mab's husband. The husband of this particular lady dies in 1993. Here is the Haneli. Haneli is the Annie's school friend. The Nazis arrest her early in the war. After that, the Peter Skiff. Peter Skiff is the, you can say, the love of Annie's life from the 6th standard. So Peter Skiff is the boy 1 year older than the Annie, and she has dream about him while in the annex. Peter Skiff is also referred to as Peter Visse. So it is the another one is that Hello Silberberg, boy with whom Annie has an innocent though romantic relationship before she goes into hiding. Hello is the referred to as Harry Goldberg. So here is the hello given to the name. Now let us talk about all these things we have just done in the previous video. Now let us talk about the summary. Here the book begins on Annie's 13th birthday on June 1942. She received as a present from her parents a diary. Among her among one of the presents means gifts. She think that it for the several days and decided to write letters as her diary entry. It means in the diary entry she usually like to write the you can say letters. So we will find this very lesson is also written in the letter form. She addresses each letter to Kitty. Kitty is the name of that particular diary. So Kitty is the fabricated friend, someone in which Annie can expose her deepest feeling to. It means she can express herself at the full most to the particular diary. The name of the diary is Kitty. So Annie's family has immigrated to Holland from Germany for two reasons. The first is Mr. Frank has taken a job there, and second one is to move away from Nazis party. And Nazis party belonged to Hitler. So Nazis are making life very restrictive to the Jewish people in Germany. So even though they have held Germany, the Jewish restriction of the Nazis party is still in Holland. So here we found that the German people will you can say were all against the Jewish people, and our Annie Frank was also one of the German. Lives in Germany, but you can say with religion, she was just belong to the Jewish family. They all are required to wear a yellow star on her clothing, attend only Jewish schools, shop at Jewish stores, and other restrictions also apply. So the full impact of the restrictions and horror of the Nazi party are left by the family on the day Annie's sister Margot is called up. So after that, this means that she is to be taken away in all probability to a concentration camp. It means the full impact of the Nazis party was at that on the day sisters Margot is called up. It means from everyone in the family, one of the each member will called one by one to the concentrate camp. So this means she is to be taken away and in all probability to a concentration camp. The family knew they would one day have to go into hiding and had been making preparation for the move. They just moved up the timetable of when they would go. On July 1942, the Frank family moved into the building which housed the business that employed Mr. Frank. So the room was known as the secret annex, right? The secret annex was just like that. It was a warehouse which is behind the wall. So this is the secret chamber in which the family of Frank was used to live when their sister and his sister was taken away to the concentration camp, right? So the family was in horror and they were just all terrified because they know that they will die soon because of the Nazis army. And the family was joined a few later by the Van Deen's family. The family consisted of Mr. and Mrs. Van Deen and their son Peter, who was a little older than Anne. Right? These two families try to get along as best they can. Of course, not everybody is happy with the situation. Anne feels as if everything she does is for the adults to use the city criticize her. And the group also decided to make room for an 8 members, Mr. Dissel. So he is a scientist and whose wife is in America. He is recommended by Mab, a young woman who worked for the Mr. Frank. So